Hello, I'm Simon Kersley, and I want to show you our new dashboard product and explain why I like this product so much. So here it is, and for me this product is all about how are we actually doing. So all the things that I'm interested in, like my profit and loss, my cash summary, what my debtors are doing, they're all in one place, and one place that I can easily see at a glance and answer that fundamental question, are we doing okay? Okay, so let's start with the profit and loss dashlet in the top right here. So what's it telling me? Well, it's saying that we're not really performing as well as we expected. We've got a profit of 80 odd K instead of 240. And I'm probably going to want to investigate that in some way. And I can see that my biggest problem appears to be down here, where we've got a bit of an overspend developing. So let's just click on that and see what's causing that. It's something to do with repairs and maintenance. And I can see that there's this rather suspicious looking double entry here, so I'm not quite sure what that is, so I'm going to ask for some help from a colleague. So I'm going to export that quickly to a spreadsheet. I'm going to write some comments in there. And this will form the basis of an email. If I send it on to my colleague, Rob, my finance manager, and there it is, gone. Simple as that. So going back here, I might now go back to the top level and have a look at what's going on. And I might well carry on and actually look at some of these other things as well, which I'm not going to do that now, but you can get the idea. You can also see that I can choose from a number of different online plans that I might be holding. I can look at year-to-date figures, I can look at month-to-date figures, and I can choose different reporting structures to give me a slightly different view of the data. So the profit and loss one for me, a very key dashlet. Okay, so we've had a look around the profit and loss and we're fairly happy that we know what's going on there. So my next port of call would probably be something like the cash summary, and I've got a very simple display here. I can see my cash, my debtors and my creditors. And I can very easily calculate what's going on simply by clicking things on and off. So if I want to see the difference between my debtors and creditors, I can just turn off cash. If I want to see the sum of cash plus debtors without the creditors, I can click that on and off, and so on. As before, these are clickable items, so I can see who my creditors are, and I've got a list of them here, and I can change the sort order simply by clicking on these icons at the top here. I can export to spreadsheet as before. I can go back to the top and look at that again. I can do the same with cash and so on. So it's a very easy to use screen, and I very quickly can see how I'm doing and basically whether things are well or whether they're not. Okay, so we know how we're doing. I've had a look at cash, and probably my last port of call would normally be this area of age debtors, and I want to see what's going on. I can see that as a pie chart, if I like, but my own particular preference is typically a bar chart when I'm looking at this sort of information. So what have we got? Well, I can see that I've got some things that are not too overdue at the moment, and they're not worrying me too much, but I do wonder what's going on over here. So, as before, I'll click on that and have a look at things, and I can see that, yes, we've got some things going on. I find this view not particularly clear, so I'm just going to move that over there. And also I'm interested in exactly when these things were due and also how much overdue they are. So I'm going to add a few extra columns. I'm going to go for due date and days overdue, and then I'm going to order simply by clicking on these things so that I can see the most overdue at the top. I can see that some of these are very overdue, and that would be quite worrying. But also I'm quite interested to see the larger amounts, and so I'm going to click on amount, and I can see that there's a particularly bad one here. Now, as before, I can export that, send out an email, and so on, or I can go back to the top and have a look at some other information. I can look at that in months or in weeks. More meaningful for me is probably months, and basically very quickly get a picture for where things are up to. Okay, one final thing to point out, I guess, is that I said earlier on that this is very much my dashboard, and what I meant by that is that I can configure how this looks and how it behaves. So I can from here go straight into the core system, the workflows and so on, but I can configure things like the dashlets. Now, in my case, as you can see, I'm interested in age debtors, profit and loss, cash summary, and so on. But there's other ones that can be selected from a list there. And also, there's a number of settings behind here that change the way that this particular screen behaves. So that's Dashboard. For me, it's a phenomenally useful product. It's exactly the information I want. It's very quickly allows me to see what's going on, which is ideal. And of course, each of these dashlets can be displayed on something like an iPhone or a BlackBerry. There's not enough room to show all four at once, but you can show them individually and they look just the same, which again is phenomenally useful for me.